All right, Jerome, I know there's no such thing as an easy road swing in the Big 12, but does it get much harder than what you're looking at this week?
If I say it doesn't, then I'm going to offend somebody on the next road swing. And so try and just look at it at one game. Going to Hilton, they've got a great crowd, really good team, just an unbelievable environment. Probably as hard as it gets in our league. So we're going to focus on that one. And then when that's done, then we'll think about the next one. But right now, that's just what we're focused on.
You see the rate that they can turn you over. Like, how do you combat that?
Shoot quick, right? Just like, get up the shot as soon as it's open, and because the deeper you get in the shot clock with those guys, like the vice grip just tightens and tightens and tightens, and in fact, the guys upstairs are just running through some numbers with me on their ability to turn teams over, and man, TJ has those dudes. They're not fun to play against.
I want to ask you a little bit more about Arthur from the last game. When you looked at the last game, what stood out to you the most about Arthur's production?
I felt like the team did a really good job of getting him the ball. He was going, and they got him the ball. And then, at some point in time, it's incumbent on a player to just say, I'm going to go make a play. And he did that, right? And the aggressiveness and confidence to do it and assert himself, and because the team needed him, that was big for us.
And refresh for me, just the recruiting process to get Arthur here.
I think, I've probably known about Arthur since he was in the 8th grade, maybe 9th. Played high school basketball in Texas for a little while, so saw him there. Recruited him a little bit when he was in high school. Saw I think committed to UNLV, then ended up going to Creighton because it was a coaching change or something. And so we watched him and knew of his family. And when we knew he was going to be in the portal, that we was a person that we wanted to go spend some time with him and his family. And when they came on the visit, I just felt like we aligned on and off the court with what we needed and what he wanted, and just what his parents, the kind of environment that his parents wanted him in, where he would not just be developed as a basketball player, but as a man and surrounded by godly men.
He's averaging 15 and near the top of the Big 12 in rebounds right now. I know you don't really talk about potential, but maybe how would you see him maybe improve the rest of the season? What could he do?
I guess, being able to consistently impact the game on both ends of the floor. I think that he could be an all Big 12 defensive player also because of his length, his athleticism, and I don't know that he uses his instincts on defense yet the way he's capable of, and therefore it would create easier buckets for not just for himself but for the team. And so, and then I want him to think more shot first, and on the catch. And I think by doing that, it's going to make defenses react to him even more, and then they'll create other things for other people. I said a while ago that I thought he could have a triple-double, and I still think he can because of the skill set that he has, and excited to see that happen.
Thank you.
You talked about how Iowa State, they're really good on defense taking away, but they're also number one in general turnover margin. So what's not as much offensively, but defensively, the way you can shorten that turnover margin in this upcoming game?
How can we?
Defensively, yeah.
Defensively?
Mm-hmm.
Like by creating more turnovers?
Yeah.
And I don't know that we want to we try to create turnovers with our pressure, but I don't want us out there gambling and stuff. I think the way we help limit some of those things is like we don't make up for it by turning them over. We make up for it by getting second chance shots, you know, because you want to balance the number. If they're turning us over, they turn us over 15 times and we can get 12 offensive rebounds, you balance that, you know. And so and my focus would be on us taking care of the ball, us getting up shots.
Wanted to ask you a little bit about Keyshawn Gilbert. I know a lot of people talk about the Momchilovich kid, but his numbers are really good, and he just seems to fit into what they're doing. What concerns you about all of the things he brings to the table, would you say?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance yet to like really dive into them individually. You know, I've watched some of their games, and so I know how they want to play, and I know what TJ's all about and that staff. And so, you know, if you ask me that question in a day and a half or so, I'll have a better feel for that. I know that Lipsy was hurt last game, and Keyshawn played the point and had a really good game against TCU. So I'm gonna get a chance to watch that.
I wanted to ask you about the rebounding in the last couple of games. It's fallen off a little bit. How do you get that back? Is it just an effort thing, or is it more to it than that?
Part of it is scouting, right? They out-rebounded the last two teams, more emphasis on our opponents on blocking us out. And so now once there's a block out, you need guys who are going to have multiple efforts to get open, and you got to go, you know, be a little bit tougher, a little bit more gritty on that end. So I think it's a combination of both.
You mentioned a few players might have been under the weather against Oklahoma State Saturdays. You know, things looking better now.
Well, you know what happens when like 2 or 3 guys get sick, it starts spreading, right? So our goal right now is to try and figure out how not to have it spread through the whole team. You know, as a couple get healthy, a couple more get sick, and the same thing with the staff and stuff. So we're just trying to figure out how to manage that and make it through this period.
And then Will, this is back-to-back games now where he played less than 30 minutes a game. Do you think that you got maybe more production out of him now that he had some maybe fresher legs and more energy?
I do, and I think you know, Jarrell's done a really good job of helping with those minutes there, and so you know, I still believe there's a lot in Will that we haven't gotten yet, and would like to see consistency through those 25 to 28 minutes. And I think we're going to get there because we're going to keep pushing.
And then you always talk about the importance of the environment in Bramlage to help your team win, but I know you can't get into specifics on recruiting, but what do you think that an environment like Bramlage Coliseum can do for a recruit to kind of move the needle on what they think about K-State?
Oh, it's just incredible. And, you know, we've had kids. We don't do a lot of unofficial visit stuff, you know, but we did have an unofficial visit, and the young fella, he had been to Illinois and Oklahoma State, and he said our crowd, our fans, our students just blew all the other ones away. Just, you know, just so much louder and so much more engaged, and so yeah, everything matters, man. That's what, like, the thing to get. Everything matters. Fan engagement, the music, the lighting, you know, just all of it matters in young people and their decision making, engagement on social media, the media coverage. You guys doing such a great job, and multiple outlets covering us, right? It's important. We go to the Big 12 tournament, the Big 12 Media Day, right? And they have those breakout things, and you look, and there's this large group around our guys, and, you know, teams that are picked to be at the top of the league, they got 1 or 2 people in front of them. Well, you know, that matters to kids, and so we embrace that, right? And part of that coverage that's unbelievable when things are going well, it's that same coverage when things aren't, right? And so there's criticism for it, but you know what? You have to embrace that too, right? That's just part of the passion that our fans and you guys have for this program, that in good times we're, you know, incredible, and in bad times we stink, and it's okay, right? Because it's all passion, because we love this place, and we know how great it could be.
You talked about the environment at Bramlage. Also at Texas Tech, you mentioned, was one of the top road environments. Hilton is kind of the same way. But can you guys actually use that to your advantage? I guess as a visitor, can you still draw energy from that? Or
Yeah, like our guys, they just like playing in front of large crowds, right? Like, it's just they love those environments. Competitors love those environments. The ones you walk into and there's, nobody there, that's they get fired up. I think the student body on the other team fires them up. Now before the game, now during the course of the game, fans can cause communication problems. I think the last 2 home games we saw that Scott burnt 2 timeouts before medias. Right before, there was a media coming at the next dead ball, but he burned them because he wanted to be able to communicate with his guys and try and kill momentum. I think Mike did the same thing last game, had to, burn a timeout because of the fans, and so they help. But on the road, man, you got to deal with it. But it's fun to play in front of, in great environment. That's why this league is so great, right? It's just everywhere you go, it's pretty incredible.
And you talked about the challenge of, I think you said 9 wins is what you figure you need to get there. Now that you've won 4 out of 5, do you feel like the team is there maybe a greater belief within the team too that you can do that, or were you guys, did you sense you were already pretty?
No, there was never a disbelief in what we were going to accomplish at the end of the year, but there was also the reality of what needed to take place. And we actually started the number at 11 because of the last 2 non-conference games, and to help the guys understand how important those 2 games were, right? And and y'all saw those 2 games, right? Like, you're like, whoa, what's going on here? And we saw it as a staff, like knowing what their mindset might be and all of that. So that's why we actually started the number then. But in our league, if any team goes 9-9 and they have a decent non-conference, they should go to the NCAA tournament. We are like far and away the best league. The Big 12 is far and away the best league in the country. Right, so you win 9 games in this league, and I wasn't saying 9 was the pinnacle for us. I was just saying you get there, and any team in our league that does that should be in the NCAA tournament.
Also, you talk about 1-0 each week, but do you feel like that you can still build some momentum with a good stretch like that, or is it?
No, it's got you can't rely on anything that happened in the past, good or bad. You got to reset and go 1-0 in the next thing, and it's just like you try to get your guys to do in the game. Forget the mistakes, forget the missed shots, focus on the next thing, and that's what we're doing.
One more. How many of those shirts do you have?
Probably that have
That have the different sayings.
the 1%, but probably about 5 or 6 of them that are important to us. That.
I want to ask you a little bit more about Will. You've been hard on him. He seems to have responded to it, but how has he just been reacted to, being coached with some tough love for maybe the first time in his college career?
Okay, I don't want to make it seem like I'm the first person that's been tough love on him. Okay, he's played. Chris Jans is a heck of a coach and does an unbelievable job. I think I've just confronted him, like made him look in the mirror, not just try to be demanding of him, but have him look himself in the mirror and be demanding of himself. And then when he is not, I've just consistently tried to point it out to him. I think the time that we as a staff spend with our guys away from basketball and all the other things we do to help mentor them as young men has earned us the right and to be able to be tough on them. And he doesn't see it as, and these guys are on me. He sees it as these guys have high expectations for me, and therefore when they're demanding this of me or they're speaking this truth to me, it's because they have such high expectations for me, and I never apologize for expecting, greatness out of our players that I see in them, and if they don't like that, then we recruited the wrong guys.
But he's responded well to all that. You never had any
Oh
problems.
no, yeah, Will's been great. Will's been great. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, the other day, 3 minutes and whatever to go when the last media was a timeout, and we sit down to huddle. I think we were down by 2 at the time, or I'm not positive. Maybe it might have been tied. Might have been down by 2 at the time, and we're in the huddle, and everybody's sitting down, and Will's there, and he looks at the guys. He says, "Fellas, let's just one kill, and we win the game." Right? I mean, like, as a coach, right? Like, I don't have to say it. Like, he says it to him. And as a coach, you're like, oh, man, they're listening. It's sinking in. They know what they're speaking our language. I mean, like, yeah, I was fired up. And they went out. We got a kill, won the game.
I also want to ask, you guys have rotated uniforms quite a bit this season. There's some people who even keep track of what your record is in each color. Do you have any strategy on when and where to deploy those?
Kellis, first of all, I'm colorblind. I don't know the difference between what they're wearing most of the time. I have no clue at all, right? So that's above my pay grade. You have to interview Austin Carpenter on that one, or
Okay, so Austin's making the call on them.
somebody is, not me.
You talked about mentoring before, and I think there was one game you mentioned that Tyler Perry did the pregame mentor. Is that common for the players to do it, or is it usually the coaches or the staff that does it?
Yeah, no, the usually it's the coach, staff, or one of our grad assistant, like somebody. But Tyler had asked to do it. He had went home for a funeral and text back and said, "Coach, I'd like to do the mentor for UCF game," and it was actually Coach Marco's mentor, and so Marco told him to talk to Marco, and he gave it to him. And
So you have a schedule for that?
yeah, there's a schedule. Who you do scout, you do it, and and so I think it's the best thing we do, and it's not, and probably impacts our staff as much, if not more, than it does the players, But you hope one day that what you poured into them, they'll revert, think back, and it'll give them something that they can draw from.
What he was talking about with like a will, you've reached guys before, obviously. Can you always kind of start to see, maybe in small segments of them kind of figuring things out, whether it's basketball related or not? I'm just curious about that, because it's, you're with them a lot. You try to reach them, as you say, on way different levels than just basketball.
Yeah, and for some it takes longer than others, and for some the intensity is greater than others because of the time period you have with them, and so I know we're doing the right thing. I know we're impacting their lives, because the other day was Bebe's birthday, and he sent me this great message after I wished him happy birthday, and you say, all right, doing the right thing. When Keith is checking in on you, Keontae, just when all those guys, Tyke, different people reach back, and you're doing the right thing.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, go Cats.
Appreciate it.